Welcome to Venator Chronicles Podcast. I'm Ethan Taylor.
And I'm Dustin Jelly.
Our hope is to inspire new and old hunters alike.
We hope you can join us on this journey of lessons that we have, are, and will learn through the world of hunting.
Probably use it on my next bow that I'm going to get next month. I don't know. I just assume, you know. I mean, actually, I was ready. I was kind of contemplating about just selling the one I have and getting a different one with all the tuning issues I was having.
That's how bad it was?
Yeah,
you thought it was the bow?
It was the bow. Because, no, get this.
Oh, as far as okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Give me the details, because we haven't gone into details.
Yeah, so, I was having the issues with those arrows tuning, which I've never had.
Yeah, the high knock is what they call that, Dusty.
Yeah. I'm glad you learned that a couple days ago.
I don't know what you're talking about. I taught you that. You're like, yeah, it's a bit. You're like, it's nose
it's
heavy.
nose diving.
That's what you said. You said it's nose heavy.
Nose diving, yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
you
I
said
said.
nose heavy.
And you graciously corrected me.
I was
so
like,
thank
hey,
you.
man,
Yeah.
not trying to be a dick or anything,
Yeah.
but it's
the
actually
technical
called
language is
high knock.
high knock. Yeah.
And you're like, thank you so much for educating
Yeah, I
me.
was. I was really enlightened. It changed my whole life. But yeah, even talking with a couple other guys, had the bow hunting soul.
Yeah,
He reached out to me.
yeah,
And we talked over the phone.
yeah.
He's got a different name. I thought my last name was weird, but I want to say Umrah.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget how to say his last name, but
There's like numbers and stuff in it. It's just really hard to pronounce.
Wow. But yeah, he graciously called me up and we kind of tried walking through it, and he was even confused. Because all the specs should have been there, and then talking with another guy who graciously reached out to me over IG and started walking through, and he got me thinking about
Who was that guy? I don't need his name. I was just wondering your connection.
Just through the trad world.
Nice.
Yeah. And he got me really thinking about my bolt limbs or tiller bolts, and how if they might be too tight.
Were you just thinking arrow up to that point?
Yeah, I was thinking arrow because I had even measured my tillers, and so if you're not familiar with what tiller is, it's where you measure the distance from the top of the riser to the string straight across on the top of the riser and bottom riser, and for 300 they should be what they call an equal tiller. It should be the same distance on both ends.
Okay.
And I checked that, and it was. But then after talking with this other guy, and I looked a little closer to my limb bolts or tiller bolts and noticed that they were actually tightened down so far that the limb wasn't making like a nice flush seated connection with the bolt. It was only making a connection. Yeah, it was
like this?
Yeah.
Like
so it was only connecting
tight?
Yep, like halfway on the bolt, and it was like, oh
Wow.
man, that's it. So ended up adjusting all that around and went out, and boom.
Really?
Arrows started flying like
now,
darts.
are you finding, because you had a target arrow with you,
Yep.
which is much lighter?
Mm-hmm.
Or not? Yeah, I thought it was much lighter. And that was flying really straight.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any correlation there or any answers there? Are both the arrows flying well now?
Yeah, both flying.
Dude, sweet. That's awesome.
So,
yeah.
especially my bear shaft. That's what really confirmed it for me when I was. Well, as long as I do my part, because every once in a while, if I don't have a nice clean release, I can tell because the arrow, the back end will kick out left a little bit.
Yeah. Which is what I was seeing on a couple of those.
Except this one was
consistent. Was the
but it was also going high, and I could not even bear shafting. I was constantly getting a high.
Yeah.
And now it's straight. And and I can tell when I mess up on my release because A, I can feel it, and B, on the bear shaft I see it because it just wants to kick left a little bit, but it's not going high.
Yeah. Okay. Dude.
And so I was super happy. And the
Did
crazy.
you ever call Snyder?
I didn't call Snyder. I had sent him a text just seeing when a good time is to connect with him, but he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
And
well, that's cool. He was like, "Yeah, give me a call tonight."
Yeah. So I think the thing that I really took away from that whole experience was just the willingness of the trad community to be like, hey, well, what do you got going on? Let me try to help. And I know there's a bunch of crotchety old men in the trad community, but my experience has been, especially with the younger crowd, it's actually been a super just awesome experience. People just willing to help.
Do you think that is like becoming more and more universal, or do you think that is like specific to the trad world? Just in general, like, I don't know. I feel like there's different areas just in life where people are, I don't want to use the word like inclusive maybe, but it seems like people are more willing to want other people to be successful as well, and it doesn't need to be just so.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe it's
I would say
overthinking
my experience this last year of being a lot more involved with the traditional community or barebow community, single string community, whatever you want to call it, for the most part, it's been a lot kinder than the general compound community. But I've run across a few jack wagons.
Hey, maybe archery's not for you.
Maybe it's not.
I can't get over that comment.
That was the one thing I kept thinking. Like, maybe it's just this whole trad bow thing isn't for me. I was just, I was so close to just giving up and going straight to the addle.
It'll be coming as soon as trad gets mainstream enough, which we're getting there.
It is.
As soon as it becomes mainstream enough, you will be on the addle.
Yeah, and then next thing I'll be going to a spear, and then I'll probably ultimately accumulate in my 80s running through the woods with loincloth.
You're gonna get
deer.
those banned from Minnesota if they're not already. I haven't looked into it yet, but
no, I just won't
primitive weapons will be out.
I just won't do a crazy social media video and smear blood all over.
Yeah, that's probably not advised.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's some of that stuff is just I don't know. We're beating the media.
We've covered that.
Yeah, we've covered it quite a bit.
I did.
We'll
Speaking
leave that
of
alone for
funny
today.
social media stuff, though, I did appreciate the text that Benny sent.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was great.
So well
If
played.
you haven't seen that, folks, go check out VCP for DeGram page. And Ben's 125-yard grouping. I mean,
it's impeccable.
He's better than guys like Snyder, John Dudley, Levi Morgan. I don't know why Ben doesn't compete. It's so unfortunate.
He should be in the Bowfest money shoot
that he
at
doesn't
that rate.
have the ability to just go out and he's got dedicated to a family, a daughter with heart issues, and that's what's really keeping him back.
That's what's holding him back. Yeah.
Otherwise, he would be just Hall of Famer
dropping
archer.
bombs.
Yep.
Yeah, and he doesn't need to practice that much either. He's just able to kind of go out every once in a while and drop bombs. Drop bombs.
Just a natural.
Yeah.
Just a natural.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, go check that out.
When he sent that, I was like, oh my goodness.
It made my day.
Yeah, it did.
Made my
It
day,
did. It
which
was great.
Doesn't take a whole lot right now to make my day.
Dude, I don't think it takes a whole lot to make anyone's day right now.
No. Doesn't take a whole lot to break your day
does
either.
it seem like people are complaining less about nothingness?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just petty stuff? Does it feel like that's kind of gone to the wayside a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. So
there's some silver lining going on.
Yeah. I just thankfully don't have neighbors that call me in when I'm out and about. And generally, I'm glad I live in a community where people aren't all freaked out like that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, And hey, we found out good news tonight.
Hey. On the last
go ahead.
episode, we were talking about kind of the guidelines of COVID-19 and stuff and what we're supposed to be doing. And anyway, I found out that podcasts fall under media as essential. So, and even the strictest states like California, and I don't know about New York, but I'm pretty sure New York's still same deal. Podcasts are still listed as essential.
We're essential.
We're so essential.
Man.
I feel so important.
Here's to us as essential.
So we're totally, not that we weren't legal, but we're totally
it just
covered with
validates our value.
Yeah.
And what we bring to society.
Yeah.
And how we help people cope in this really dark and desperate time.
Lockdown episodes.
So that's what we're here for.
Yep.
We're here for mental health.
Yep, that's right. Help you keep your
comedic
sanity
relief.
by hearing our insanity.
I mean, the options are limited. I mean, what are you going to do? Late night with Jimmy Fallon? Or late night VCP, Dustin and Ethan?
Yeah. Well,
hands down.
Exactly.
You would go with VCP.
I know. I go home and listen to ourselves as I fall asleep.
That's because we like the sound of our voice.
I don't do that.
Actually, I know. You don't like the sound of your voice, or you don't actually fall asleep to yourself?
I don't fall asleep to the sound of my voice.
Oh.
Definitely.
Well,
I think everybody dislikes the sound of their own voice.
Now I feel weird.
Don't you? Oh.
Actually,
now I'm feeling marginalized.
Yeah, now I'm feeling a little awkward. No, actually, I think we've talked about this, but I actually dislike listening to my own voice. Yep. I think it's weird.
But I think that's everybody.
Are like, oh, it's pretty sweet.
Dude, doing the editing.
It's so weird.
Total side note, nobody wants to, whatever. But like editing and stuff, being forced to, It is really interesting, the things you pick. It's honestly, this is what it is. You know how like I am a huge proponent of watching film of yourself shooting,
Yep.
especially in slow motion, because
Yep.
I've learned like
Because it just looks cool.
I've learned like 4 or 5 pivotal, like huge lessons
Yeah.
from watching film. Yeah, peep, peep,
Peep,
peep,
peep.
peep.
Ethan the Peep Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. My middle name. But it kind of yields the same value actually listening to yourself through this, and when we do the editing process and we try to look for clips to put out and all that stuff, especially super early on,
Yeah.
because it was rough.
It was rough.
It was, yeah. Or every word you said, yeah. Just like, I want to make sure people know you're not alone. It just made no sense. It was great.
Except now that we're doing the video recording, I'm realizing I kind of have to be careful with my hands. I tend to talk a lot with my hands. And I noticed in that last video, though, a couple times I was like, oh, yeah. Kept like going back and forth.
But think about it. That's part of the reason. 'Cause, like, I actually prefer podcasts on video.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason is because there's so much nonverbal that happens that, like, I love, like, I don't know what it is, but it adds to it for me. So I like watching video. I've had people, when we put up videos, like we were talking about before, where they prefer the YouTube videos and just being able to have a little more context and a little more background. It's not like they watch it the whole, solid amount of time. Ooh, excuse me. But they do like to watch it, and I don't know. I was like, well, if we can, let's just add it. Why
there
not?
we go. So
Why
that's
not?
what we're doing tonight. Hopefully.
Little fireside.
Chat.
Lockdown chat.
Fireside chat.
Yeah.
Late night with Dustin and Ethan. Coming at you live from Cloquet, Minnesota. Well, semi-live. We're not really live right now.
Yeah, we aren't live, but we're
Yeah,
recording.
but we're alive.
Ah.
We are alive.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, as I was refreshing. Okay, well, I guess since I'm going to eat some crow.
Oh, that was funny, though.
That was super funny. You're like, hey, we got to talk about this Dan Infalt list. We've been talking about planning it for a while. I'm like,
you're like,
planning?
Planning?
We talked about it. We brought it up once. And then you sent me a list and highlighted it on it because we have like subjects we want to cover. Yeah. And I was like, I stand corrected. All right. So I forget what the list is even called, but it's
let me pull it up.
Yeah,
here.
pull it up. Yeah.
So this is
my phone's right there.
This is a list I found a while back. That I saw that was really good, really thought provoking, and I thought it would be a fun one to discuss because since we're not the experts, we don't really have anything that you should listen to us about and take away other than comedic relief. However,
self-deprecation, that is key.
Yeah.
No, but we aren't the professional
we
or
are
anything
not.
yet. So.
I mean, if you want to get good at learning how to miss deer, come
we
talk
can,
to me.
We can miss deer if you
we're
want
good
to
at
know
that.
how to track them for an obscene amount of distance.
Inside city limits, too.
Inside city limits.
How many people know how to do that?
The correct steps to take so that you're not breaking laws.
That might actually be a good future one to really kind of walk through some of the finer details.
Let's do that. Let's pause that. But hey, here's the thing, though. I think when I was reading through that list, a couple things. Yes, it's about whitetails, but really it's about hunting in general. But also, it's never too early to talk about whitetails.
No, it's not.
It's our pinnacle, right?
It is.
As of right now.
Yeah. It's what we do year round.
Although we're talking about, we're already talking about some out-of-state hunts.
I know.
I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited.
So... And at the rate this coronavirus is keeping everybody at home, our wives are going to be like, hey, you're going on a hunt next month.
Please leave.
Yeah.
Please leave right now.
For the whole month.
And
don't come back.
Oh, my gosh.
So anyhow, the article is I guess it's called Dan Infalt on Mind Control and Big Bucks. And for those of you who don't know who Dan Infalt is, he's also known as the Hunting Beast. And probably one of the foremost experts on how to find and kill big bucks, and not find and kill big bucks on private property or ranches or paid hunts. Which no hating.
Hey,
however, for the rest of us who don't have that opportunity, or just don't care to, public land.
You don't care to?
Not yet.
Hold on. So if you were to buy a house and you had 80 acres.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's different. That'd be my own private.
So
I'm not saying
what about if you were scouting some public land and you're like, oh man, look at this private. This would be, it's right up against it. Man, that'd be really cool to get permission. You went and got permission.
What I meant by private was like going on to like ranch styles or, where people are really like making a lot of effort, putting in food, crops and whatnot. Yeah. Whereas Dan Infalt, especially for you and I, public land.
It is
he's all pretty much public land, or just I would say normal private land if it is owned by a private.
Right, they're not like managing
the land and the herd.
Yeah, okay, all right, I'm on board.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
So
we're on the same page then.
So he gives his top 10. I think it was top 10, right?
10's a good number to
11.
Have top-ups.
Oh man, 11.
See, that's just like Dan.
That would be Dan Infalt.
Outside the box and just does what he wants.
So if you're not familiar, go YouTube Dan Infalt, the Hunting Beast. The guy's got a lot of wisdom, and really have appreciated learning from him this last year.
He's kind of the straightforward, no BS kind of guy.
Yeah,
like Aaron Snyder.
Yep.
For whitetail.
Yeah, the Midwest.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of Midwest and. Actually, we'll post the picture that he has posted here with all his deer. It's probably not even all his deer.
No, definitely not. I don't think you'd fit that in a camera frame.
Probably not.
At least you wouldn't be able to see Dan because you have to be far enough back.
So needless to say, this is the kind of guy I really appreciate the fact that he just doesn't give 2 cents worth about what camo he's wearing. If any camo, doesn't really care about scent control other than where's the wind.
Dude, yeah.
Heavy
wind.
Yeah, so
heavy wind concern.
He's
really
he's
cool.
A fun guy. Yeah,
it's cool like that.
I'd love to.
It makes everything really like attainable.
Mm-hmm.
When someone like that is doing it the way he is, and just worrying about the absolute crucial stuff. And then you can kind of put your own personal spin on it as you go. But like when he's worried about just, hey, here's this, and you can do it this way.
Yeah.
So
number one. Now that we've gone through a half-hour intro. So number one, he says, step one here, set appropriate goals. And talks about set achievable goals. If the biggest buck on the property is a 130-inch deer and your goal is to kill 150, you won't succeed. Don't set yourself up for failure.
Good Lord, sir. Yeah. That is so good.
So, what's your takeaway?
So good. I guess, like, for me, this one's challenging because my mindset, even going into last year, was I'm going to shoot a buck. Like, my goal has been shoot a buck as big as last year or bigger, outside of some exceptional story or history with it, if that makes sense. Is that the Hunger Games horn?
Yeah. So
is that what that is?
Yeah. So we gotta grab our
do we have to kill each other, or is that we'll do that last?
No, that's last.
Yeah, we'll work together, and then I hope they can hear that horn of those or something. Morons. Okay.
What are they talking about?
Yeah. So for me, I guess like that one is a super good reminder for me because last year my intent was kill a buck, and that was. I'm sorry, harvest. No, my they're not soybeans. Call back. No, but for me, last year was like let's find a buck that's either comparable or bigger. That was my goal, and I had deer on camera that were. Very close to the same, kind of the same as I've been. Mm-hmm. It's the same as my 8-pointer from 2 years ago now. And so, that's all good and dandy. And then this year, I mean, to be completely honest, like I was really blessed and lucky. A big part of it was luck to have the deer that I did.
Yeah.
That was substantially bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, like right away, looking at next year and looking at camera photos and stuff, I'm like, okay, now if some deer that I do have on camera make it through this this winter or made it through rifle season, all that stuff, I think there'll be deer that are comparable.
I would hope most of those deer made it through, being that they were
7, 8-pointer, 8-pointers, 9-pointers.
Yeah, or in the sub-metro. I mean, there was a...
Yeah,
So-
it's possible. I had one with a little tiny drop tine that I really like. I want to get a drop tine just
That'd
'cause
be cool.
it'd be cool. So if those deer make it, that'd be great and all that. But I know for me as I was going last year, I didn't have anything that was like really obvious. And I mean, with a family, new baby coming, all that kind of stuff, it was. I was towards the middle of the season that I was in or whatever. There was a lot of like, okay, at what point do I need to make sure that I have meat in the freezer, that kind of thing, trying to like assure those things and manage those expectations. Because like I'm in an area that I don't know what kind of bucks are around, that kind of thing. How dedicated am I to that standard or expectation? And so I guess for me, it's a good reality check, and it's a good motivational thing as far as like go out and find them, right?
Yep.
Like that's a big part of it. But if you're not finding them and it's hunting season, you got to I need to
prioritize.
I got to prioritize, and then also, am I willing to take that kind of reel it back based on based on what's actually there, what I know is around. So that'll be going into next year. Managing that if I am in the area, figuring it out. But again, like we've talked about before, when you're going into the season and you start to get to the middle and the end of it, you're like, okay, especially if you don't have a doe in the freezer yet.
Little down.
Yeah, you got to figure out, am I going to pass on this?
Yeah.
And my thing, honestly, like my hope is to do same size ish or bigger.
Yep.
But honestly, if something gets my heart going, and I'm excited about it, that's what if I'm not excited about it, I really appreciate seeing them. I love filming them. And like that really gives me a lot too. But
So
I also
you don't fall under the if it's brown, it's down camp.
Unless it's a doe.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess for me, it's a good reality check, good gut check, and then it just kind of goes, okay.
So you're still trying to figure that out.
Man, yeah, it's still in process. I don't know. How about for you?
Yeah, for me last year the expectation was to just get a deer, which I utterly failed.
Amazing opportunities.
Amazing opportunities.
Right
Learned
place,
a lot.
right
We've
place, right
talked
time.
about that. So thankfully now in retrospect, I look at last year and go, wow, I learned a lot.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
So for this upcoming season, I'm still debating. I'm trying to figure out what that expectation. I think it comes down to one. I got that big 10-pointer on camera last year.
Dude, if that thing's still kicking.
If he's still kicking.
Dude.
So if I can get him on camera, and I've put out a ton of cameras because right now that's kind of my goal is to get him on camera because if he's there, I not totally sold yet. But if I can find him on camera, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him my goal.
Yeah.
And versus just being willing to sell because this year I got a couple properties I can go get some does at super easy that I didn't realize I could have last year. Theoretically, as long as I do my part,
which is key.
Which is key.
Which is not as easy as it sounds.
But so now having a few good spots this year and really getting out early and actually scouting this year, I think that'll really help.
Yep.
Like I said, my goal is to try to find that one deer. And if I can find him, I think I'm gonna go make him my goal.
Now, when you say goal, like as far as like the approach with it, is it gonna be obviously where it's not like I'm going there every day, but like perfect conditions I'm going in?
Yeah, like I would have to. I think for me to take a different buck, especially the first half of the season, because that area that he's going to be in, I think is better the first half.
Yeah.
From what I learned last year, so if I can find him, I'm really making it my goal the first month.
Yeah.
That's who I'm going to go after. Otherwise, if I don't, I'm okay taking anything, especially after the first month. I think, but we'll see. I think that all kind of depends on what happens. But I think that was one of the, I think it will really help me really focus in on a particular deer because I think that will provide a lot of lessons for me in learning how to do that and just the natural lessons that come on. I kind of equated it to how I approach my jiu-jitsu training. When I start focusing in on learning a particular position or particular submission, I actually end up learning a lot more
than like a
just
broad,
that, yeah.
wide
Like I
net.
just start seeing and understanding so much more when I actually focus in, and so I'm hoping that almost translates and carries over into, hey, if I focus in on this one deer, with the mindset of really learning how to do that as well, not just for sake of just getting one deer, but learning how to focus in on one deer.
Yep.
Kind of like what Dan Infalt and what the Lone Wolf guys do. I think that is part of my big focus is not necessarily just the one deer, but also learning how to do that.
So as far as expectations go, then when you're moving into that idea, are you planning on? So say you go to one of maybe your easy doe spots,
yeah,
so to speak.
yep. Because I got some doe
Are you
spots where I
going-
could
are you
take
gonna
like
go-
multiple does.
Right, but would you?
Theoretically.
But would you pass on a 6-pointer?
I don't know. That's
Sure.
that's one of the things too, though. Like kind of having not harvested any or killed anything with a trad bow, I might just all of a sudden have an opportunity to go, you know what? I'm totally okay with taking this deer. But I think so. We'll see how all that really plays out in the moment.
Yeah.
But I think as far as my approach, it's going to be, hey, my approach isn't just to find where a bunch of deer are.
Yeah.
And go from there, but really go, hey, let's try to focus in on this one, find this one, and see if we can learn how to, I don't know.
Lost a log.
Lost a log.
That's okay.
Dang it.
It's gonna be okay.
It's going to be all right. I'll be okay. So, yeah.
But you are open to not just.
Yeah.
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 Okay,
I'm not.
okay.
I fully admit I'm not at the level where it's like I'm not like Dan Infalt who goes, that's the deer I'm going after.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how long it takes me. So, but I think my general approach is I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to find this deer, and if he can be found, okay. How do we try to kill this deer?
I think that's a really good way to just be viewing it in general.
Yeah.
And going at it where you are going at it with a certain level of intensity.
Yep.
So that you can learn, and when you're doing it with a certain level of intensity. So like when we were going to the doe spot, so to speak, this year, it was like not a lot of thought had to go into it besides like upwind, right?
Yep.
It was quick, easy to get there, all that stuff.
Yep.
Whereas if you're going after a buck, you're going to be much more challenged going in on the front end, whether you see him or not,
Yep.
because you'll be.
And
yeah,
I think
that's a great way to look at it.
And kind of we'll explain more of this approach as we kind of go through the rest of these, because it really kind of plays out through all of
great.
these.
Yeah.
So the second one is step 2, pick partners wisely. It says there's 2 types of people. First kind lights up the room when they walk in. Looks like a great day to hunt. Let's go get that buck. That would totally be you. The other brightens the room when they leave. This weather sucks. I should have gone golfing. We're wasting our time. Blah, blah, blah. Choose wisely who you hunt with. Positive partner brings out the best in you. A negative one brings out the worst. Sometimes it's better to hunt on your own. Don't waste time with people who feed off negativity. Your hunting time and sanity is far too valuable for that. Happy hunters are successful hunters.
Okay, so since you threw no particular reason, just obviously we're gonna go back and
Dude,
forth.
I was a negative
I'm definitely not
Nancy this last
I'm
year.
not throwing
Dude,
this one at you for any reason.
Throw the bus.
Let's not look.
Just
not look
say
too deeply
I
into this.
was a jackwagon to hunt with this last year.
You were really difficult to hunt with.
I was depressed.
I
I was a
was-
depressed hunter, and I really brought the.
We've gone into detail, so maybe we won't.
We
do
won't
it
go into
again.
details, but yeah, no,
But-
it does. I read that, and I was just
How did you handle?
I was like, oh, I feel
my
so
question
bad.
to you though
What a jerk.
is, what would be your advice? Because for me, it's so natural to be positive about it, and you're just, I don't know. I live in a state of like anything could happen. One
Yep.
moment changes absolutely everything,
Mm-hmm.
and so just live as if that moment's coming, or hunt as if that moment's coming. But what would be your advice if someone's struggling through the season, or struggling with maybe going on a weekend hunt?
Yeah.
And you're with someone who's positive, and maybe it was
Yeah.
annoying. I don't know. But what would you say to that person to help turn that around in the moment? Because it's hindsight. We've learned
Yep.
that kind of thing. But what would you say to someone who's maybe on the negative side, or realizing like, man, I'm really struggling with this, and maybe they haven't taken a moment to really realize that they're the negative person?
I think it comes down to a lot of what we've talked about with what I learned was, are you so focused on the end goal, or are you focused on the process? Because if you're focused on the process, you can make a lot of good advancements there, a lot of good
a lot of
lessons.
good strides,
a lot of good strides.
Yep.
But if all your are is focused on the end goal and that's not being achieved,
Yeah.
that's what can really lead to that negativity, that depression. And so I think, just being able to focus on the process, because we can't always we can't dictate the outcome.
Yeah.
But we can dictate the process.
I like that.
And so, I think that was a big lesson that we've talked about was, focus on the process. And are you getting better at the process? Mm-hmm. Because the results will follow as the process grows and gets better.
Yeah. I think it's
improves.
a great mental approach into it. What would you say to someone like me who is obviously extremely positive to maybe a fault at times?
Yeah.
And not in reality, maybe.
I think.
What would you say for me to help you or someone who is struggling with negativity? Because it got to a point for me where I was like
ready to punch me in the face.
I honestly wasn't mad. I was just like more on, if I was to put it bluntly as possible, disappointed. Mm-hmm. Where I was like, oh, okay, because it turns into, I don't want to say a burden because I still love being out there and love being out there with you.
But that hunting trip we took, you're honest. Like, I think you got a little annoyed. And we're like, I'm just ready for this to be done with, so I don't have to deal with this.
Here's the thing. I was definitely,
jackwagon.
Here's the thing. Because I'm as positive as I am when I'm out there, wasn't ready for it to be done.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to do to help you. And that's what I'm wondering, like, what would you say to someone who is positive, who's maybe with a partner that they didn't expect to have as much struggle going on? And it was more than just that hunt. It was like the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Is there anything someone even can say or do?
I think acknowledging the frustration, and not being so overly like positive, like, hey, it'll work out, hey, it's great, we're out here. But I think maybe asking those questions and pointing them back to, okay, what are you frustrated with? Okay, and then what things are going well? Like,
dude, that's such a good lesson, just in general. Because even like
instead of telling them how to be, ask questions, leading questions to help process, right? Help them even process what they're feeling.
Yes.
So,
and we've talked about questions, and this literally applies to everyday life.
Yeah.
Like I have people in my life where they aren't even pessimists; they're just realists, right? And
I would say that's more of the camp I fall under. I tend to be, because I'm not a pessimist.
Yep.
Like,
I don't. And this is what I'm learning, and it's so hard for me to do, is when you're dealing with someone whose personality is like that, is instead of trying to turn it, because I always see the bright side, always. It's like what I do, and it makes me have to stretch, which is a real good thing, but you need to lean into your doubts, your questions. Ask them, what's going on? Yes, this sucks. Like you're saying, exactly. Like I do that with even outside of hunting. It's you have to put yourself out of your normal lane and go, yeah, that sucks. What is it about that? Because I don't like doing that. It's uncomfortable actually for me to go into that area because I'm like, oh, I don't want to get sucked into it. But the reality is that people like you need to be able to process that stuff and
especially verbally
work through it, and I tend to push it aside, which is also unhealthy at times as well. So
there's nothing wrong here.
But this is what we talk about, like with the microcosm of hunting. It's like it is an example, but the lessons in it are applied to life, and this is just one of those areas where it doesn't. That's something I've learned more recently, where it's like you gotta. If you're a positive person with a quote unquote negative hunter, lean into it and really let them air it out, ask good questions like you said. That's awesome. Cool.
So pick partners wisely. Number 3, scout with a purpose. Find fresh spots to try and spend lots of time scouting them. Becoming more knowledgeable of the area produces confidence when it's time to hunt. I think this one was one that really hit me because I did a little bit last year, but I did it so late. I just started finding these areas where I got so overwhelmed. Whereas like this year, I've been able to get out and really start not just scouting with like, oh, I wonder if there's deer here, but like, okay, is there good sign here? Is there signs of bucks being here?
Well, and even like pre-scouting, or e-scouting.
Yeah, e-scouting.
Being I'm looking for particular land features. I'm
Yep.
looking for particular edges, transition areas, that kind of thing, where you're going out there and you're not just canvassing this area.
Yep.
You're like, I'm going to where the sign should be.
And
if there's anything.
And that's what I learned last year was like I could do that, and then I went out and be like, oh man, there actually isn't anything here. Otherwise, or going, wow, there is a ton of sign.
Yeah.
Mark this.
Yep.
That was a big change, and I'll kind of I think share a little bit later of how that really plays into another point he makes.
Yeah.
But yeah, really getting out, really scouting with purpose.
Yeah.
Is something I'm really looking forward to this year, and I think that one of those aspects that plays into going out after this 10-pointer.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's giving me a nice direct purpose of like, okay, like we
Yeah.
found where
Yeah.
he's at or
Yeah.
a general area, but now where is he?
Yes.
Where is
And-
his bedding? Where's he coming and going from? Like now I have a lot of purpose.
Yeah, and I would say don't be, at least for me, don't be discouraged. Like when say you have an area where you're pretty confident in, right?
Yep.
And you've hunted it a couple times, and you're like, okay, I shouldn't overhunt this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have a couple areas that you're excited about to go check out during the hunting season. Because for me, like I can't go
Yeah.
scouting all the time. I can't be out there, you know what I mean, like year round. Just
Yep.
go, even this time of year, I'm not getting out that much. And in season scouting, it really brings a little life to the season and a little mystery to like, oh hey, I'm gonna go check out this area. I'm bringing my bow. I'm sneaking through whatever it is. I might do a hang and hunt in an area I've never been. So that to me has always been like a nice little bonus in the season. Like if I'm kind of getting discouraged in other areas or almost overhunting, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go to a new spot.
I was thinking about that the other day because I was been out to a couple spots that I was out a lot last year, and I was like, oh man, there's a couple other spots that I really like to get to, and it just kind of hit me. I'm like, hey, I've got these two areas that I really want to hone in on where there is solid sign. There's plenty of deer. Like, let's really get to know those areas beforehand.
Yeah.
And I'll leave these couple other spots, which I've I've been to just real quick, where it's like, okay, there was some decent sign, but I don't know the comings and goings of these deer.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, that's a perfect in-season opportunity. I'll just go in there, once, twice, maybe 3 times throughout the season, if need be, and enjoy the process of getting that in-season scouting, and then B, not wasting all my time all over the place. And just kind of have that mixture. So
I think it's so nice to have a little bit of mystery and a little bit. It brings some excitement
You're
to
a
a
little
season.
bit of mystery.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either, but
all right, here we are.
here we are.
On to the next one.
So step 4 kind of plays into what we were talking about. Put in effort. A hunter with a do-anything attitude will kill more bucks than the guy who is unwilling to wade across rivers, kick through muck, or hike a mile in the dark. Try harder, work harder, and put in maximum effort. I felt like Jocko was.
I was just want to say that last part. That last part, I was like, all right, Jocko. Good.
You have to walk through a swamp? Good. Be tactical.
Dude,
I think
that one feels a little convicting.
Ooh.
I'll be honest, that one feels a little convicting. There's a few spots where I feel like I'm doing that a little bit, but to be entirely honest, I would say that it's not where it needs to be.
Yep.
It's not where it needs to be.
And
there's
if
some
you
areas
ever-
that are 30. Here's the thing, is there's a level of like trying to balance this convenience / family time where, I need to drive an hour, there and back, whatever. That's to some areas that I've been tipped off to being potentially really good spots.
Yep.
That I've put off for convenience sake. And so like things like that are things where there's definitely a ton of room for growth for me. Like really pushing it. Let alone, walking through rivers and all that stuff.
Well, and when you watch Dan Infalt's videos, I mean, that guy is what he is willing to
He's
go
nuts
through.
Deep.
I feel
he's nuts deep in ice cold water. Let's be honest.
And he's like, and he's totally fine sitting in a tree stand with like frozen feet for hours,
frozen pants.
Yeah, like he just doesn't care. And
he cares. He just cares more.
He cares
about
the deer.
He's got his priorities straight when he's out there.
I think for me, putting in more effort means getting out earlier in the season and getting this working. That's kind of my next step.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like anything. You know, you look at a world record power lifter. I can't just do what he does.
Yep.
I have to work to get there. And I look at someone like Dan Infalt, and I'm okay with going, you know what? I would like to be there someday. And it's okay that I'm not there right now. Just what do I need to do to increase?
What's the next step for you?
Yeah, what's the next step for me?
That's a good way to look at it because I know I've felt, I don't know if guilt's the right word, but I felt like, oh, I'm not willing to walk through 3/4 of a mile of marsh to go to an area I'm not really confident in. And so that's been hard for me, but I like how you're putting it because it makes me feel all warm and tingly inside, just being like, what's next for me? No, but like I said, and that's where I bring the point, like, me, it's like, okay, drive time. Literally, just drive time.
Yeah, that's a big killer for me, too.
And it's like, it's not that it's hard, it's just you're trying to balance life and family and all that stuff. And
which, that's something Dan Infalt has talked about, how much time and energy and effort he put in earlier on when he was younger, newly married with younger kids, and he's even talked about that he does regret.
Yeah, and here's the thing:
because he does say that he regrets, and the fact that his wife stayed with him, put up with his crap.
Yeah,
is really good. So
well, and I think that's the thing for me is that hunting, and we've talked about this at certain points, I believe too. Hunting really isn't everything, and I've had to. I mean, even something as minuscule as coyote hunting. I haven't been able to go nearly as much as I would want to, and I'm looking at going like coyote hunting is going to be here forever, right? Like, if I don't go out every single opportunity or create opportunities this year, that's okay. I have a newborn, a 3-month-old, right? Like, it's not going to be the end of the world if I don't get out 2 times a week to go out coyote hunting, waking up at 2 a.m. And going to work or whatever. It's just before work or whatever. And so for me, that's where it is a little bit of trying to understand, like, hunting's still going to be there, but when you do have the time and you do have it and you choose not to because you don't feel like it, that's where it becomes a different thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's a balance in all of this stuff, but I think stretching yourself when it's just a personal thing.
Yep. So I think we could rephrase that as put in the effort that you're able to do so.
Yeah, put in your maximum availability of effort. That's a terrible sentence. Okay.
So that was step 4. Step 5, hunt target bucks. It's hard to achieve goals by wasting hunts on does or lesser bucks. You must hunt mature deer intentionally to consistently kill them. There's nothing wrong with settling for a nice 2 or 3-year-old, but if you dream of monsters at night, you have to hunt where monsters live. Hunting deer in general and expecting monster bucks is like hunting rabbits and expecting squirrels. They're 2 different animals. This one was insightful.
Okay.
You know, I thought because it was
lay it on me.
Especially this last year, because like I looked at it, like a lot of my hunting was and approaches was around just finding deer. And I definitely saw what he meant there. Like, I saw a lot of deer. I didn't see any big bucks. But I realized that's because I wasn't hunting big bucks. And I was okay with that. That wasn't my goal.
That's a stage we're at. I mean,
you know,
honestly.
And so, but it was really insightful going, you know, he's right. And then just listening to him and the DeQuistos talk about is like, to hunt really big bucks.
The
like
DeQuistos are...
Yeah, they insane.
They pass some ridiculous deer.
Yeah.
But that's because
they pass dream deer that we would love to see once in our lifetime.
Yeah, they've grown to that, though. So that's where...
And, but just understanding, like, just having that insight, having an understanding, like, hey, if we want to hunt big bucks someday, you know, I hope I can get to the point where I'm like, I've got this big monster target buck that I want to go after, which I've come to now realize, I don't know, I don't want to say done right, but I think guys like Infalt and the DeQuistos, it's not just about, like, harvesting per se a monster buck, but it's almost like they just have this high level mission, this high level goal there. They're just like, I want the challenge. Like, to them, it's the challenge of getting it more so than even just like, I just like the fame of getting a big buck. They just really enjoy the challenge, and I hope that I can get there.
Yeah.
To be
it's like its own separate process.
Yeah.
And so like they appreciate the process, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't don't see it, and I know I didn't see it as that early on. It's like, oh, all they care about is inches.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like, yeah, because they've worked up to that. It's because they've already achieved some of the earlier goals, and so they're raising their goals. What's wrong with that?
And I have a lot of appreciation because they're not going. I don't mean to slam, but not going to a deer farm with the goal of getting an easy big buck. Like they want the challenge. They want to get that mature deer that is hard to kill. For the challenge. And so I've learned to really appreciate guys that do that.
Well, and I think interestingly enough, last year you saw the one big buck that I had on camera.
Yep.
And I straight up didn't hunt that area because of the pressure. I mean, literally within there's a box blind, illegal box blind, within like 70 yards of where I wanted to hunt. And I didn't hunt it because I didn't want to be around people.
Yep.
But as I look at things and I'm kind of trying to shift or do a little bit of a shifting my mindset where it's like, okay, can I appreciate that part of the challenge in this particular case is going to be other hunters? Because the more I think about, like, I love the idea of being where nobody is. The more and more I scout, the more and more I realize not really realistic.
Well, you listen to the Quistos or Infalt, and how many times are they talking about hunting in the same area where tons of other hunters are, but they go to the one spot where nobody else is because they figured it out.
And so it's not appealing to me, the idea of like, oh, I out-hunted these people and that's what got me the deer. What's appealing to me is like I was willing to go where other people weren't willing to go, that kind of thing. But I think I'm trying to come a little bit more to grips with the idea of I've out-hunted, outsmarted not just the deer, but also other people. And even the idea of like, I was out there 2 hours earlier than they were, so when they moved, the deer were coming to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that is something I'm working through.
See, that's something for me, that mindset.
Yeah.
Like, I just would naturally go to that, just coming from like combat sports, jiu-jitsu world, which it's all about outsmarting, outworking, you know, that other person. Like,
that's where, for me, I don't know if it's a confrontation thing. Like, that was honestly straight up one of my main concerns. Like, I don't want to be in my stand. This person looking at my back all morning with the potential of them walking up to me and screwing up the hunt. Being like, hey, you can't be here. It's like, actually, I can. And then just doing this back and forth. That's like, if I'm completely honest, that's what turned me off to that spot. Was like, I know this is the spot I want to be. I know this is, I literally climbed up the tree in my stand, setting it up before the season. Yeah. And I was like, oh, never mind. Like, pre-setting it up to see if it was going to work out or whatever. Yeah. And I got up there and I was like, oh, totally discouraged, totally like.
I remember that text.
I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be here. But I think that the reality is that if I'm hunting legal, a legal spot, and someone's, I don't know, like it goes to that etiquette thing a little bit, but I'm like, it is an illegal box blind. Yeah. And you know they're. I don't know. Yeah. I struggle with the idea, and I really don't want my hunt to be impacted by other people as far as like actually the potential for that. So I don't know. Still something I'm working through. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. I am going to put a camera back out in that area. Nice. And if it's around, I think I'm going to give it a shot. Pun intended.
Step 6. You'll like this. Be mobile.
Mobile, agile, hostile.
Tactical.
Stay alert, stay alive.
Hunting the same spots over and over or simply rotating through several preset stands is a bad idea, especially if they're bad spots to begin with. It creates the mindset that nothing will be different from the last time you hunted it. Be mobile. Hunting fresh stand location produces fresh hope. Ooh,
here's the deal.
That was good.
Hey, you know,
fresh
you want to know.
Hope. He almost sounds charismatic.
Yeah, he does. Do you know what stands out to me when you said that? It was actually your call on our weekend hunt.
Ooh.
Fresh sign and set up, fresh hope, all that stuff.
Dude, yeah.
The sign is king. Fresh sign is king.
Yeah.
And that's what we set up on, and that's where the opportunities were.
Yep.
And so, to me, even more than being mobile, all that stuff, was being just flexible and adaptable.
Yeah.
We were set up on the ground, and
Yeah.
we both had opportunities.
Yep.
Insane opportunities. I lost a deer,
And I
you
screwed
had
up a bunch of opportunities.
Well, you created amazing opportunities.
I gained a lot of lessons. That's what I did.
You did, though. I mean, that's the reality. So, I mean, that there were some
Yep.
huge wins in that, and
I think
I
that's
don't know.
Yeah. I that's something I really learned a lot about last year was be mobile. Just watching like the hunting public, and then experientially, this last year was that reality of hey, be mobile, was really a really good lesson to learn, and how many people, and we've talked a lot about this, but how many times have we seen or know of people that just go to the same spot year after year after year with the hope that maybe something walks by, versus going, okay, this isn't working, let's go find a different spot. And then too, just even in season, it really keeps that kind of that mystery, the fun alive, because you're like, okay, find a new spot. Oh, hey, here's some sign. Yeah, let's. It really keeps that fresh hope. There. So,
dude,
be mobile.
Hey, what do you think about? I know this is in the moment here, but what do you think about kind of wrapping this one up and then just doing a part 2? Because we're at an hour.
We are in an hour.
Roughly,
all right.
Roughly. I mean, we can do it right now, but I'm just. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good chance.
Are you cool with that?
I'm cool with that. Hopefully,
Cool.
their listeners.
So then they
cool
can
with
go
it.
weekly. We can go weekly. Keep it weekly for you guys. We're so thoughtful.
We are. We're thinking about you guys.
Okay.
That's really what it is.
So
keep you guys entertained.
Yeah, let's wrap this one up real quick.
So episode part 1.
Yeah.
Episode.
And we're basically halfway through, a little over
20-something.
halfway. Yeah, we're 29, I believe.
29.
29 or 28.
Roughly.
Anyway, so you know where to find us. I'm not even going to go through it.
Yep.
You know where to find us. Appreciate you guys' support. It's been a lot of fun, and it's awesome.
Hope you're all staying alive, staying well,
Staying healthy.
Yeah.
And hope that our voices are getting you through these tough times.
That's what we're here for.
That's why we're here.
All right.
All right, cool.
Peace out.
Peace out, guys.